Hi, everyone. Welcome to True Crime with Libby Starr. I am Libby, and today is number 38, day 38 of missing Summer Wells. Summer's brothers, Summer's grandmother, Summer's parents, the community has not seen Summer for 38 days. And it would seem that they are no closer to finding her than they were on day one, which is very disheartening. However, we do know that EquiSearch will be out tomorrow. They will be starting at dawn, I am told, and they will search until dusk, or if they find her, whichever comes first. And I'm also told that they will be completing the search effort until they find her. So that is very, very encouraging. Also, some new news is that the Department of Children's Services is involved. They have confirmed they are involved. However, because of the nature of just the case and the fact that minors are involved, it's not public information to know how they are involved. We do not know if the boys have been removed. I know there's been a lot of speculation about that, and I have not seen confirmation of that as of yet, but we do have confirmed that they are involved with this investigation. Now, I wanted to play for you this little news clip. I am going to get into, of course, the interview with Allie and Leslie and the grandmother, H's grandmother. We will get into that, but I wanted to share just a couple minutes with you a video from the latest news, which I found interesting and troubling at the same time. So, Hawkins County emergency officials struggle with radio issues. So, as you're listening to this, I want you to think about the fact that we know that the first 48 hours of any crime investigation, especially a missing person, is the most important. And so I wonder if any of this that they are talking about here with the radio issues had any impact on that timeline at all. Let's listen.
Services confirmed today they are involved in the investigation into the disappearance of Summer Wells. They would not elaborate, though, on how they were involved.
Meanwhile, this afternoon, the Hawkins County Public Safety Committee discussed ongoing issues with their 911 and radio systems that some say impacted the initial ground search efforts in the search for Summer Wells. Leaders with the Churchill Rescue Squad, the Hawkins County Rescue Squad, the Emergency Management Agency, and 911, as well as other operation leaders, spoke in front of this committee today in Rogersville. A lot of praise toward emergency leaders, but committee members expressed frustration over the lack of information about the investigation, and they felt they were blamed for communication issues.
We approved, and we all know where those radios are sitting at.
I personally was not given authorization to do that.
That's fine that you weren't, and I understand. I've covered my butt too, but I mean that had nothing to do with you. I'm just saying it was given. We gave authority to do that, whether it be you or whoever.
That was the committee co-chair Dawson Fields and EMA director Jamie Miller. Each report mentioned the issues faced by crews on the ground in Beach Creek during the search and how it brought about some safety concerns.
We're trying to come to the commission to say, hey, help us. We're not pointing blame. I don't think any agency here would point a finger at any one of you guys or any one of them when every one of these seats are filled. This is just providing information to help you guys make the right decision for us.
Last year, the committee approved $425,000 for an analog system and received a $250,000 emergency community development block grant that took some time to come in, according to Miller. Now the county is facing equipment shortages due to the pandemic. Next, commissioners will need to craft a resolution for that system to be constructed.
Okay. So I wanted to also share, let's see if I can find the right one. Mhm. Hey, by the way, does my sound better to y'all? I sure hope it does because I got a new laptop. Okay, here's the next part.
Communication issues in Hawkins County became the focus at a public safety committee meeting earlier today. The focal point being what happened during the initial search for Summer Wells. Leaders of rescue squads and other first responders explained in more detail just how difficult the problems with the radio system were and explained how much of a risk it could have been had more equipment not been brought in.
TEMA and Sullivan County EMA provided us with a cache of approximately 50 radios to hand out to the responders that were on scene. If it hadn't been for them providing those radios, we would have been in a mess in Beach Creek. We would have had no communications with all these people.
I don't want to go to one of my members. I'm sure Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, Rescue Squad, EMS, you guys don't want to have to make that door knock on a phone going, your child's father, mother, brother, sister, they're not coming home because of lack of communication and safety for these guys that are doing this as a volunteer for free.
Commissioners on the committee pushed back as the county has had several meetings over funding and fixing the system, approving $425,000 for an analog system and recently receiving a $250,000 emergency community development block grant, with the state just approving it June 10th. The purchase order for the system was put out the following day, just days after Summer went missing.
We can't do nothing for radios until we see a resolution or something come in front of us to decide on what to do on the radio. And I mean, I don't know how come we always get a finger pointed at us. I mean, we have done everything that we're supposed to do that we've seen in front of us so far.
A new resolution would need to be brought forth to upgrade the analog system to digital and tie the site all together, as well as buy field radios for all of the first responders.
Okay, so my thoughts on that are, one, it's it's very, very sad to me that adults, professional adults, are concerned about finger pointing and being defensive in a situation where a 5-year-old girl is missing. Okay, a 5-year-old girl is missing, and the community is desperately trying to find this little girl, right? And you've got all of these emergency responders, volunteer emergency responders, and they are coming to this committee, whoever they are, and saying, look, we needed this from you. You knew we needed it. We didn't get it. And I don't know why they didn't get it. I don't know why that happened, how that happened, whatever. The point is, it did happen, and it did likely have an impact on the search. And it could have had a more serious impact where, like Captain Coop said, they could have had someone injured and not been able to communicate. So thank God that didn't happen. Anyway, I just think, get over yourselves, and don't worry about placing blame and, well, I did this and no, just fix it. Just fix it and do better. That's all you need to do. All right, so that's enough of my little rant on that one. The reason that it was so important, obviously, for them to have communication is mainly because of the dangerous terrain. So he had said, if you've not been off Beach Creek and pulled off Beach Creek Road and pulled on to Ben Hill Road, Fields Road, Bells Road, and started looking at that terrain, one ill step, seriously injured or killed. And we had 1,194 people searching that area, he explained. Now, mind you, they had, 50? They had 50 radios, and they got the 50 radios from TEMA. TEMA and Sullivan County EMA provided them with the radios. Okay, so that's outside of these these folks that they were expressing that they were upset. Yeah. So that said, they were coming and saying, "Look, we need to get this fixed. Here's why." And it just sounded like they were met with a lot of defensiveness, and it was just basically a waste of time. Hopefully that'll get straightened out, and so everything will be on the up and up in the future. And that said, let's share the screen for this newest interview. I have not yet watched this. I actually watched the after show, and I got to hear some of the thoughts of that, but I haven't seen the actual interview, so I'm intrigued to find out what happened. And where'd it go? Ah, there we are. And I am going to, again, put this on 1.5. If you need it slowed down and you want to just watch it in its entirety, by all means, go ahead and go to the interview room channel. But if you want to discuss with me as I watch it, you're welcome to stay. Go grab a seat, go grab a drink, grab a smoke, whatever floats your boat. And here we go. Oh boy. I'm sorry, you guys. You didn't hear any of that? Oh my Lord. I'm sorry, I'm just now seeing your comments. I am a loser. Okay, let me see what I need to do. I don't know why that was happening. Okay. Oh, I gotta click share audio. I wish it would just default to that. Okay, and thank you, darling. Appreciate you getting my attention. All right, so let's hopefully we can get back going again. Oh, for goodness sake. Right, it's not sharing the right one now. Technology hates me, guys. Technology freaking hates you, girl. Okay, let me try this again. I swear. I have so many tabs open and then I have I don't know why it didn't go. Okay, there. This is the ticket, y'all. I got it. Do you have sound? Y'all, let me know if you have sound now. Hello. Could you hear the video this time? Nobody's talking to me. No? Oh, okay. I'm about to cuss y'all. And that's not a good look. All right. You know what? Those of you who are staying with me, you're the real MVPs. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Sharing audio. Going to this. Going here. I got it now. Swear to God. Swear to God.
Of somebody who is obviously under the influence of meth all the time. Sorry? Booze? She drink a lot?
Oh, yeah, every night if I drink.
I'm not saying she didn't do meth. Don't misunderstand me, right? I mean, I don't
She never
know.
did it for me. She always smoked weed.
Okay. Yeah. Who doesn't smoke weed today, though, right?
Me.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. Yeah. So we got 4 at the table here. Okay.
And I can't do it. She drinks every night.
At least Leslie said
She drinks a nice size bottle of R&R.
Okay.
Every night.
Okay.
I mean, a nice size jar.
How about a lot of times in this area, I know there's a big meth problem. What other kind of drugs are on the streets up here? How are pills doing up here?
Yeah.
And what kind of pills?
Oh, no, I don't really hear about the pills. I hear about meth.
Leslie?
Well, you hear pain pills,
Opioids? Like oxy?
that pain patch. They said on the news the other day that it's running rapid here.
Fentanyl.
Yeah, the fentanyl patches.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here in West Virginia, right? I mean, in West Virginia, there's a town and they had like 22 people OD on fentanyl in a single day. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. So at some point, 3 or 4 months into it, correct me if I'm wrong, okay, your relationship kind of dissolved, but it maintained.
Longer than
It
that.
was longer than that.
It was the start of the second year.
Yeah. It was about the end of August, early September.
Okay.
And then I really cut ties at the end of September, early October.
In that time, how was she treating the children?
She'd smack them and beat them.
Describe that.
Well, let's see, one time her son wanted a drink. She said no. He threw a fit on the floor, so she went over and wailed his ass.
Is that normal? Would you describe that as a mom, from your mom's position? Would that be out of the norm, or even that raise your eyebrows?
It raised my eyebrows. Like, I don't beat my kids.
Okay. Did you say anything to her?
I said, what'd you do?
But in between this, you should ask Leslie. Because Leslie was there before all this.
So you've known Candace longer?
No.
Oh.
No, I met Candace on her birthday. See, me and her worked together.
Okay.
So I came over for her birthday party. And they had a swimming pool up out back. It's a little swimming pool. And her kids and Candace's kids was playing in the pool. And some of the kids had got out and was eating a snack while we was cooking hamburgers and stuff. And 2 of her boys was in the pool and they was horseplaying. And this really, what she done really got to me.
Okay.
I mean, they're kids. They're going to play in the pool.
Right.
They're going to get rough. You know, they're boys.
Right.
And because they got rough, horse playing in the pool, she made them get out. And back here behind the house, there's a driveway. And she made the 2 boys get out of the pool, wet, and lay down, stomach down, on blacktop. It was hot. Really hot.
That left an impression with you.
It left an impression so bad. I looked at her and Allison's mom, Sherry. I said, I do not like this straight up.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Allison, I said, this swimming pool is going down. I said, those kids did not deserve that.
Mm-hmm.
I walked out, picked the swimming pool up, and dumped it. Turned around and walked back in the house. I did not want to be around her the rest of the evening. I didn't, because if I would have been, honestly, I would have went to jail.
Right.
And you want to ask me how I felt about that? That is abuse. Those children could have got seriously burnt.
Right. No, I agree. I agree that if that ground is just unbelievably hot.
And with them being wet.
Right. Yeah, it's just like oil and water and grease. It just fries them up. How did she react?
She just laughed. She doesn't care. She doesn't care. She doesn't care. Her and her mom both just laughed.
Well, that certainly has left an impression on you, Leslie.
Yes, it does. I don't like her. I have nothing for her.
Right.
And I told that one right there when we was at work.
Right.
Every day she was off work, she was at Walmart spending money for them.
Okay.
Every day.
For the children. I know what you mean by for them, for the children, am I right? I mean, helping the kids move forward.
Those kids, all they would eat is dollar pizzas.
How do they have the cars that they drive? That kind of stuff.
The ones that are on the property, see, I only knew that at first, when I first met them, I only knew that Candace had a green Suburban. Johnny had a black truck, which Candace had sold when she came back from her trip from Wisconsin. She sold her husband's truck because he took his white truck with him to Utah.
Okay.
And there's other trucks on the property too that were not sold yet. There was a blue one that used to sit as you came out the front door. It used to sit right in the yard.
Okay.
Next to the tree where the swing was.
Okay.
That's been moved over by the mother's trailer.
Since the incident?
Get it right, the mother's camper.
Well, the mother's camper, I thought it was trailer. But from what I've seen in the pictures, it's been moved over by the camper.
No,
But it didn't have any wheels. It didn't have no wheels, no insides. It didn't even have an engine.
So let's talk about the day.
Yes.
You tell her that.
The house was nasty.
I didn't go up there because I didn't like her. I always stay here.
What's your impression of Dawn?
He seemed like an outgoing guy at first. You know, he has his problems.
Like we all do, right?
He loved somebody else.
Yeah.
That was his pride and joy.
Yeah.
That was his pride and joy.
Is he still around? There's a rumor that he's kind of evaporated. Is that true? If you know?
The last time I knew he was around.
Okay. And of course, you know how things are. You know, people don't know unless they're here, right?
He's been acting a little loony on Facebook lately.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
And on the and on his interviews on TV.
Right.
Like first he started saying stuff about God and how he wanted the people that stole his daughter punished by cruel means, and then he went to saying something about Jezebel, and now everyone has to answer to the prophet. Like weird.
Yeah. But he has really hurt his family.
By throwing me and my son under the bus. Oh.
Well, you know, people do different things. Henny, for your thoughts, Leslie, where you at?
Honestly, I think Candace done something to her. Because Candace was jealous of that little baby.
Why though? Why would?
Because that baby was getting Donnie's attention.
Oh, okay. So it's a pull between dad or the child.
See, in a little
Is
dark,
that right? Is that what you're saying?
and a little dark secret that no one knows. Candace's mom told me this week. When they found out that they were pregnant with Summer, Candace's mom was supposed to adopt Summer.
Because she was a girl.
Because she was a girl.
Oh, interesting.
She wanted boys. But Donnie
Wanted a girl.
Yeah.
And he got his girl. Yeah. So let's.
Honestly, I don't feel that Donnie has anything to do with it. I may be wrong.
Was he at work that day?
I'm Richard Branson, and I have a once-in-a-lifetime invitation for you. Would you like to travel?
Do you know?
We don't know for sure.
Okay.
When she would have Summer, even here, and if I was here, I would keep my distance. Because I didn't like the way she done her kids.
Mm.
And everybody's like, call DCS, call DCS. DCS has been called so many times on this woman, it's not even funny. So what the Facebook people don't realize, there has been people try to step in.
No.
She avoids them.
Sure.
Like
Sure.
the plague.
Okay. Okay.
She would see them pull in her driveway, she would lock the door and not let them in.
So they're.
I mean, what
And
are
they
we
would make
supposed to do?
appointments with him
Right. I get it.
to come back and do the house check and, you know, the key test, and they would warn him.
So I have a question for you. That day, walk me through what you remember.
I remember her showing up that morning
And what time was that?
about 10, between 10 and 10:30.
All right.
She asked if Hunter could go fishing with her in summer because her mother was in the emergency room because of her knee.
Okay.
Because I guess a couple weeks back, they took her a trip to Gatlinburg and the boys were kicking the grandmother in the knee.
Oh my.
She didn't have the boys with him that day.
She didn't have any of the boys.
So it was just Summer and Candace
And then
and Grandma.
Yep.
Was Grandma in the truck as well, or in the vehicle?
Not when they first picked Hunter up. No.
Okay. So she comes
She was
over.
at the hospital.
Okay. So she comes over. What vehicle is she driving?
She was driving her mom's Silverado.
Okay. That's what I remember you saying. That's why I said truck. Okay. So she pulls up, and she.
Yeah, I just have to pause this right here because we keep hearing over and over again that the three boys were not with them, right? And we also don't see any of the boys other than Hunter at the swimming hole that day. However, dude, what is his name? Dobson, what's his first name, y'all? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Flute guy from the church, who seems like a perfectly nice guy, okay? But he said that, and I have no reason to not to believe him, but he has stated more than once in interviews that he was shown a video by Candace of all of her 4 kids swimming in some body of water, and told him that, you know, this was from today. So that's, I mean, I don't know. Could she have mistakenly pulled up the wrong video because she was frantic? That's a possibility, absolutely. Just saying it's an inconsistency. That's all.
She stopped where? Right about, right out front.
Between the pool and my mailbox.
Okay.
To pick Hunter up.
All right.
She came in, she goes, "Can Hunter go fishing with me for a little while?" I said, "Sure."
Did she text you before?
No,
She just showed up.
Yep.
How did that strike you?
She was always trying to show up and talk to me. She was the first. When me and her stopped talking, she was stopping by my mom's, talking to the kids, talking to my mom, unexpectedly, And I didn't think anything of it at that time. I'm like, okay, yeah, Hunter can go fishing. He loves Summer to death. That's like his little sister.
They're buds.
Yep. She's like a daughter to me. And I didn't hear from him for a while. She dropped Hunter off between 2 and 2:30, right where your truck is.
Okay.
But her front end was facing the telephone pole.
So she's going this direction.
Yes.
Okay.
When she dropped Hunter off, it was her mom, Hunter, and Summer. And Summer was leaning against 2 gallons of milk.
Okay.
I said, oh, look at her. I asked her how Summer was, and she was sleeping.
What side of the back seat was she at? Do you remember?
Hunter was on the driver's side, and Summer was right there in the middle.
Okay, so it made sense if she's pulling this way that Hunter's going to get out on this side. Okay, it makes sense. Okay. And so she's on the other side or in the middle?
She's in the middle.
Okay.
Against the milk, gallons of milk.
Yep, against the 2 gallons of milk.
Okay.
And I said, oh, look at her. I said, isn't she hot? I said, I wish I could wake her up and, give her a hug. No, you can't.
And the
windows were up.
What did Hunter say? Because he was sitting next to her.
Hunter said she was alive.
Okay.
But they were watching TikTok videos.
Oh, interesting.
When they went into the store.
Yep, because Hunter has a timeline of where they went and what they did. And they had stopped at the store before they dropped Hunter off. That's where the 2 gallons of milk came from.
Okay.
And the groceries.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to interrupt your timeline of that day, but I want to suggest they need to go to the Walmart on Fort Henry.
Okay.
And have them look back at the cameras because.
I was West Drive. She can't go to Fort Henry.
Because she got escorted out for the way she was yelling at those kids. Don't you remember?
Oh, yeah.
That day?
No. Prior to that, she had gotten arrested, cited on Walmart on Fort Henry Drive property.
Okay.
Her and my mom went to Walmart, and they had the kids with them. And she wanted them to help her fix the cell phone that she bought from there. They told her they couldn't do it. Well, I guess she got really mad and upset, and she said,
she went down 12.
Well, first before she went down 12, she said something about blowing this place up.
Oh, yeah.
So they got security.
Tactical error, right?
So they got security. Security called 911.
Sure.
They let her go their own way in the store. They found them in the toy aisle, brought them up front to the security room, and she was arrested, but she was put in handcuffs or taken down to central office for booking.
Because of COVID.
Because of COVID. She was released on a ticket.
Got it. OR.
And she's
Own
banned.
reconnaissance.
I guess she's banned from that one.
Okay. So let's go back to the truck share. Summer's on the other side with the milk. Hunter gets out. You ask Hunter, or you talk to Candace about wanting to talk to Summer.
Yep.
What happens?
She said no. I wasn't allowed to wake her up.
Okay. So she's sleeping?
To me, she appeared sleeping.
Okay. Did it look like to you she was sleeping?
At the time, yeah.
Okay.
But now that I look back on it, I really don't know.
Okay. Fair enough.
And it just tells me. Because, now that I look back on it, it's like, was she really alive? Was she sleeping?
What's your gut as a mom? I mean, with Hunter coming in and saying, Mom, we were watching TikTok videos. I mean, for her to hurt her between the TikTok video stop and home here with Hunter in the car, that would have been kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, I believe she was alive here.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, where would you put her being alive?
10.
And where would Hunter put her?
Out of 10.
Okay.
Because he sat here and he said where exactly what they were doing. She was giggling, watching TikToks and everything. And he said she fell asleep because she was tired. And that was right before they pulled up. So.
And then what happened?
They left her around 2:30.
How long were they here?
Well, 10 minutes.
Did she get out of the truck?
Nope.
Stayed in the truck?
They had to go right away. They
were parked out there for about 5 minutes. That's nothing.
I know, but when you started to ask them,
yeah, I said, well, you want to come up on the porch and
hang out?
Yeah,
and thank you for the invitation, by the way, to come up on your porch. It's very kind.
So I wanted to hear how the fishing trip went and everything. That's when I found out that they went swimming instead of fishing.
Okay. She told you they went swimming.
Yep.
And where'd she tell you they went?
At the Warriors Path at Stables.
Okay. At the stables. You're in the back seat. Hunter gets out. He tells you what?
He really didn't say nothing.
He didn't really say nothing.
He went in the house.
Okay. Then what happened?
I asked him how fishing went. He goes, we went swimming. Oh, okay. I asked him how it was. He goes, fine. He didn't tell me anything about what happened.
Nothing.
And then his girlfriend's mom came and picked him up about 3 o'clock.
Everything in life is a negotiation. When you cross the street is a negotiation.
And he went with them for a while. Me and Leslie went to the ball field. I left my phone in her car, in her van, because my phone was dead. So we only had hers. We were on the ball field, and we were actually on the opposite side of the ball field. We were watching her grandson practice, because he was playing for the Packers at that time. And her phone rang. It was Hunter. He wanted to speak to me. She came in the phone. He goes, Mom, you gotta call Candace.
Where was Hunter at when he called you?
He was at his girlfriend's house.
At his girlfriend's house. That's with Leslie. No, I thought her name was Leslie too.
His girlfriend's name is
That's okay. I don't need his girlfriend's name. Yeah, I don't need his girlfriend's name. Yeah, good
So
call. Thank you.
And he goes, Candace just called me. Summer's missing. You need to call her. I said, boy, stop pulling my leg. I don't want to talk to her. So me and Leslie were talking. I said, I don't believe it. I said, she's probably just pulling my leg trying to get me to talk to her. So, we continued watching the football practice. After practice, we went to the drive-thru at the cookout.
Now, were you guys together?
Yeah.
Okay.
We went through the cookout drive-thru. We had ordered dinner. And we were waiting for our food. I turned my phone on, went on Facebook. There it is, plain as day. A picture of Summer missing that was posted by Hawkins County EMS. I said, listen, she is missing. So I called her mom, told my mom what was going on. She goes, you're joking. I said, no, I'm not. So then I said, okay. But Mama Bear and me came. I called Candace. She didn't answer. We waited till we got here. I called again. She didn't answer. Hunter tried calling her. She didn't answer. My youngest tried calling her. She answered. Finally, she answered on my youngest's Snapchat. I said, what's wrong? She goes, someone's calling. I said, how could she just be gone? I just seen you guys not that long ago. I said, what happened from the time you guys got home, from the time you guys left my house, until she went missing? She said, we came home, we planted flowers on the side of the house. We went in Mom's camper to wash our hands. Summer wanted a piece of candy. Grandma gave her a piece of candy. She wanted to go play boys inside the house. Candace told me. She walked somewhere over to the house, let her go inside. She went back to the camper, fixed Mom's knee, which didn't take 10 minutes. Then she went back to the house, asked the boys if they'd seen their sister. They said, no, maybe she's downstairs in the cellar playing. And I said, did you check the cellar? She goes, yeah. I checked it for about 20 minutes. I go, okay, was the door shut and locked? She goes, yes. So that's weird. Like, how did she just come up missing?
And during this conversation, didn't shed a tear. Nothing.
She was walking back and forth in her kitchen playing with her hat on her head.
How do you know that?
Because it
was on video chat.
So you were on video chat during all of this? Okay.
All she was doing was talking and yawning.
I'm playing with her hat. She's like, well, I gotta go to bed soon because I have to get up in the morning because we all have to go down the station to take a polygraph test.
Have the cops been there yet?
Yeah, she said her mom was outside talking to him, that she wasn't going to talk to him.
Is that what she said?
Yeah.
That she wasn't going to talk to the police?
Yep.
But her daughter's missing?
Yeah.
Okay, then what happened?
And then we didn't hear from her the rest of that night. And then Wednesday.
And what time was this around? Do you remember?
About 11:30, 12 o'clock.
PM? So by this time, Summer potentially could have been missing between 6 and 7 p.m.
Hunter called my phone.
Yes.
At the ball field at 7:29.
7:29. Hunter calls.
Yep.
Okay, so and so Summer's missing obviously before that time of 7:29.
Who called Hunter? Candace.
Candace did.
At 6:30?
I don't know what time she called him.
Yeah, right now that timeline's unknown.
I think it had to be right around after 7 because he would call his mother first and tell him he would.
Okay. Then what? Then what took place?
So Wednesday.
So you're watching her though at around midnight.
Yeah. There's no motion.
And she's playing with her hat.
Yeah, she's doing this with her hat.
Is she under the influence of anything at that point?
She seemed a little drunk to me.
The drunk?
And high.
Okay. Any other drugs on board, do you think?
Not that I know of.
Okay. From a nurse's perspective, Miss Leslie, what do you think that you've seen?
It wouldn't have put it past me if she hadn't done a couple of pain pills.
Some pain pills?
Yeah, because I mean, her moods would go like this during the whole interview, during the whole time she was talking to her.
Sure.
And I mean, whenever she would, it was just like she was up like this, and then you could watch her just, just down.
Yeah, highs and low. Right. Got it. Now, where are the boys during this chit chat?
Never heard them.
Never heard them.
Didn't hear them.
Never heard of nobody.
Where's Don during all this?
Never heard
You
them.
didn't hear him either?
Nope.
And you were watching the same video?
I was sitting right here.
Okay, so it was actually going on right here, meaning you were here when she called. Okay. And then what happened?
We said goodnight, and I told her I'd pray for her, that they find Summer. Next morning.
When you hung up, let me ask her first, and I'm going to get your answer here in a second. You're a mama bear, and a good one, okay? Grandma, you too. I'll ask your opinion. Women have an instinct. Okay? Men don't have it. Okay? Ask my wife. Okay? All right. What was your instinct? That night,
Oh my.
I'll tell you why in a minute. Why my instinct was that way. It was my gut feeling.
Leslie, what was your opinion? Said it from day one.
Miss Leslie, what have you said? Okay. That's a diplomatic way of saying.
Because it's like this, if that would have been one of my kids or my grandkids, the devil himself wouldn't be telling me, you need to get in your house. Oh, no. I'm going to go find my kid.
I know that about you. I can tell. So here's another question then. Is it possible that somebody could have snatched her?
Nope. Not with 20 dogs on that property.
No. Yeah. There's 20 dogs.
Well, I've heard that number varies, right? I think there's a lot of dogs on the property, right? I mean,
there's about 20. There's
seriously, because she don't have her dogs fixed, and
there's two of them that keep getting pregnant, and then my daughters had one of her dogs, and that dog was just too wild for the city.
Right.
So she took her back. She ended up pregnant, and
there was 3 of them that had puppies all at the same time.
So there's a lot of dogs on that property. Okay.
And those dogs protect that property.
Yeah, I bet.
And
And it's kind of isolated up that road, isn't it? When you pull up there in the past, what do the dogs do?
They come running right down to the end of the driveway, and they surround you.
They come down the driveway.
Yeah. And if they don't know you, they show their teeth. They're ready to eat you. Because when they were going up to Wisconsin, me and her neighbors, we were taking turns feeding the dogs because I live down here in the city, and the neighbor was close. Every time my mom would pull up the driveway, we were with her in the car. All the dogs would come running down, and I'd have to say, eat, because they'd want to eat.
Miss Leslie, what's your opinion?
I ain't never been up there because I don't walk her long enough to go up there to see her.
Okay, fair enough.
She asked me to take her, and I said no. I'm not doing it.
I like Miss Leslie. She's a straight shooter with this one. I love it.
Down the end of the driveway, and that was it.
Really? So in your minds, there's something that has happened to her that night. Your opinion was, this doesn't look right. There's something wrong. Maybe she did something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the boys might have done something, and they're covering it up.
Oh, maybe the boys accidentally hurt her. What's your gut on that?
Even though the boys didn't bring me to her, there's just something in my gut that keeps telling me.
And what are the theories that you're operating on? What kind of thoughts do you have?
I'm Richard Branson, and I have a once-in-a-lifetime invitation for you. Would you like to travel?
You know how, like, when she used to smack her, and she just got really evil with her. Like, one day she grabbed her by the arm and just gave her that hateful look. Like, and then it all doesn't make sense either. Candace has a sister that's been missing for about 10 years. One night, a couple nights when she was drunk, when it came around the anniversary for her sister's disappearance and her birthday, her mom was in tears all day long, all night long, and she kept looking at her mom. What's wrong? I said, you know what day it is. Oh, you ain't gonna find her alive. And I said, why wouldn't it? She goes, because the bitch is dead. I said, how do you know she's dead? And why would you call your sister? She goes, who said that?
That's a deep statement. That's a deep statement, don't you think? We don't want a lot of rumors around that one, but if she said it, she said it. And I don't have any reason not to believe anything you're laying out here for me personally. But at the same time, you know, who knows, right? I've seen crazier things in my time as well. So the next day then, did you call her back?
No, Wednesday, no.
Did she call you?
Nope.
When was the next time you had contact with her?
Thursday morning. Wednesday TV, there was the thing on Facebook, the TikTok video.
Okay.
Of Hunter and Summer swimming at the swimming pool.
Okay.
That Candace had posted. And I was like, I was actually getting ready to go to work with Leslie because we had to be in at 2 that day, I think? 3. That's getting to be 2:30, 2 o'clock. I'm like, should I wait here and contact the TBI because everyone's wondering who this kid is in the video? And she goes, we didn't really know what to do at the time. And next thing you know, my phone rings. And it's Hawkins County Sheriff's Department. They go, we're on our way out. Can we talk to Hunter? I was like, yes. So Hawkins County Sheriff's Department came out. They came out, investigated him, and talked to him. And Leslie had to go to work. I told her, tell our boss I'll be there in a little while. I'm running late. And tell him why. Well, about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I'm getting ready to go to work like I was supposed to. And they called my phone again. We got more questions for Hunter. Okay. This time they came out with TBI and FBI. And they sat here and they nitpicked it.
Right here?
Yep. At the sale.
Mm-hmm.
They got Hunter's statement.
What were they nitpicking him on?
They were going in depth about what their day was like.
Okay.
Where they went and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What they do.
Okay.
So then.
Were you sitting here?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. And then what happened?
I ended up taking the day off from work. Got pulled off my schedule at work.
That's kind of a crappy reason, huh? I mean, the fact that all this is going down and now he's in the middle of it, right? Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
So then.
Where do you? Then what happened? Go ahead.
So then Thursday morning, I'm in the bathroom. Candace shows up. Walks in the house, starts asking Hunter.
Out of the blue?
Yeah.
Okay.
I asked Hunter, did they come talk to me yet? It's okay. Because I sent them to your house. I gave them your phone number and your address. I sent them to talk to you because of the TikTok video and stuff. And she goes, what'd you tell them? By the time I could get out there to him to see what more they were telling him about, they had left. They had gotten back in their truck and left. I immediately called the detective. It's like, listen, Candace was here with her mom. They're just asking my son what he told you guys. And he goes, give me a second, I'll call you right back. He calls me back and he goes, what were they driving? I said, they're driving her mom's Silverado. He goes, thank you for that information. Because she shouldn't have been here. I said, my son, what he told you.
And what did Hunter say he said?
He goes, I just told him everything we did that day.
And what was her response?
Oh, okay.
What was she?
Tell him that, did you?
And then she said to him, you didn't tell him that, did you?
About what?
To this day, we really don't know.
I really don't know to this day, but
he said it was pertaining to do with the alcohol and the puff bars.
The alcohol and the what?
Puff bars.
What's that?
It is a nicotine, basically electronic cigarette.
Oh, okay. Those vape cigarettes?
Yes.
Okay. Are they how are those packaged?
They come in a container with 3.
Are they what color are the packages?
Different kinds.
Do they come in? Do they look like cigar packages?
Yeah.
Are they come in blue ones?
Purple.
There's blue, there's purple, red, yellow, and orange.
Okay.
I think there's a green one.
I don't know.
Well, Hunter will know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then what?
Then we didn't hear anything. Then one night he was at work because the poor boy tried to go back to work.
You're a good mom.
And
Should see mine.
he had got a phone call from her stating that she was in the back of a cop car.
Hunter got a call?
Yeah, because she had to go back to the police station
That night?
and take a polygraph.
This is Thursday.
Another one.
No, this would have been
Saturday.
Yeah, because we didn't hear from her for a while.
Okay.
And then, like I said, he was at work. And she had called him. Said she was in the back of a cop car. Heading to the police station. She had taken another polygraph test because she failed the first one. Then his girlfriend's mom picked him up from work. And she had called again. Said she was at the police station. She couldn't leave. So I called the detective when I found this out. I said, why does she keep calling my kid? Like, it was crazy.
Okay. So I guess that's the end of it. That was abrupt, huh? I didn't even know that was going to be the end. So, what are your thoughts? I am dying to hear. She was worried that her daughter was missing. What makes you say that? What? And I'm being serious and genuine. What behavior have you seen from Candace that has shown you that she is concerned about where her daughter is? I hear crickets in my yard. And I just ask because I just haven't seen it. I personally haven't seen it, and I'm not making an allegation of anything that I think she has done, but I am judging her by her character. Oh, you're commenting on the fact that she was worried about giving Hunter the tea. Okay. Yeah, that could be. Okay. Gotcha. Um, what behavior, Patricia? So I'm asking what behaviors have you seen of Candace in her interviews or on social media or in person if you happen to know her that have shown that she is concerned about the whereabouts of Summer? Right. Yeah. Right. I agree. To me, it's not normal to be worried about covering yourself as far as, oh, you bought alcohol and vapes for a minor. That should probably be the last of your worries, even though it made her look really bad when we found that out, right? And if I sound like I'm judging, um, I guess I am. I don't think I don't think her behavior is appropriate. I don't. The fact that she hangs out with a 15-year-old is a little bit questionable, but then again, when you consider that they have, been like family, I can understand in that way. And especially coming from Hunter's perspective, if he thinks of Summer and the boys as his siblings and Candace like maybe as an aunt or a second mom or something like that, um, totally understandable. I'm not faulting him at all, but I am questioning Candace's motives. I absolutely am because she's a grown woman and it simply is not appropriate for her to be hanging out with a 15-year-old doing the activities that she's doing. Now, if she were just being that mother figure, like second mother figure or auntie figure, taking them to do fun stuff, hanging out with her kids, stuff like that, that's one thing. Okay. But buying and consuming substances, that's a totally different ball game. That is not okay. It is sketchy, um, and possibly some ulterior motives behind it, which I'm not going to speculate on. I don't know what they are, but it's there's nothing wholesome about it that I can see. The excuse to bring Hunter was to go fishing, right? And there was no fishing equipment, like they didn't go fishing. Something else that I did want to show you guys, let's see if I can pull it up because he did this, and by he, I'm talking about the gentleman from the interview room, Chris McDonough. He did an after, oh gosh, that's a really long, well, we can get into some of it, but he sort of dissected the interviews and gave his thoughts about all of them and sort of did the culmination, which I thought was really interesting. I actually watched that before I watched that interview that we just watched. Okay, so let me get that up here and I'm going to share it because he had some really good thoughts. And I have so much respect for him because, for one thing, he, obviously has years and years of experience in law enforcement and has dealt with criminals. Like he understands the criminal mind. Um, and so I'm just fangirling over here. Um, and he just, to me, he seems to have a lot of integrity. He does not try to put his personal opinions out there. He just keeps it straight to the facts and based on his personal experience in the area of crime investigation, right? Which I don't have. My experience is in psychology and teaching and I'm in another field now, but a related field to emotional and behavior disorders. So that's kind of the perspective that I come from. So when we're looking at Hunter's interview, for example, I was so frustrated with the number of people who were very hard on him because of his yawning, and that made them say that he must be lying. I'm just, to me, that it didn't come off that way at all. And I've taught high school for a number of years, and most of my students have ADHD. And so I've seen the behaviors that go along with that. And, I very well understand that it's not, you may have ADHD and not have a yawning tic. Okay. I realize that. It is not that that is always a symptom by any means that goes along with ADHD. Okay. And I'm not suggesting that it is, but what I am suggesting is that it is a possibility and it's a probability. And just based on the fact that, he was on camera, think about the amount of pressure that he is under. Try to imagine yourself as a 15-year-old. Okay. I was a total train wreck. Okay. I was a mess. So who knows how I would have responded. But I felt like he did a really great job. And that's from me having years and years and years of experience of teaching high school students and middle school students. So that's, it's my opinion, but it's an educated one, coming from experience. And when he was doing all the yawning, to me, I noticed it right away. And I immediately thought, that's a tic. That's some sort of tic. And I went and I researched it a bit, and I did find that it is a fairly common tic to have associated with ADHD when a person is trying to focus or it is feeling under pressure in some way. And so that's what I think was going on. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying it means he's not lying. I'm saying that's my opinion. And I found him believable. So that's that. Chris said some of his viewers were out of line and may find themselves removed from the group. Oh, gosh. Okay. Greetings from Silver Creek Village along the wooded shoreline of the Great Lake Erie, deep in the wild, mild west of the New York state of wine. Wow, that was an awesome introduction. That was just awesome. Yes, and I don't think he has any fear either. And you know what? I didn't either as a 15-year-old. I thought I was invincible. Quite frankly, most 15-year-olds do. Not all, but it's very common thought of just like I can do anything, and because there's not a whole lot of thought put into consequences and outcomes of your choices that you make and so forth. And especially having ADHD, right? The hallmark of that is impulsivity. So Hunter is going to be impulsive, particularly with his words. And so if I just think we needed to cut him a lot more slack than people were. So anyway, that's that. But let me share this next video where he goes into in depth. I hope this is it. Share audio. I'm going to get it right this time. Look at me. Okay, and I'm going to skip this ad too.
Information is given about finding where Summer could be. Now, when I talked to Candace a little bit, she told me that number one, she doesn't want to sit down just yet, but she did say, from her opinion, what she heard, and she watched the interview with Hunter, that he had it all wrong, and that the locations that he pointed out were in the wrong order, quote unquote. So that said, I don't want to put any more information out just yet about where she is, but both she and Dawn were together today. And so they're not in Wisconsin at her sister's house, as it's been rumored and reported all over the world. She is here in the Tennessee area. That said, I want to take a look at and talk about what we just saw, get a lot of opinions. But remember, I like to operate not on speculation, not on rumor, but facts. And the reason facts is, if we come up with something, okay, then that information immediately needs to go to that phone number right below me, because we're talking about a 5-year-old little girl here. And every one of us knows that. That's why also in the chat over here, immediately, everything we say in that chat impacts Summer Wells. Okay? And the one thing you learn as an investigator is you don't get to choose your victims, and you do not get to choose their family.
Okay, so I just had to pause that because I see in the chat that a couple of you are saying that CPS removed the boys. And I did not find verification of that. So can you let me know how you know that to be factual? I know that they have stated that the Department of Child Services is involved in the investigation, but I could not find it to be verified that they did take the boys. So where did you all find that? Because I definitely want to know that. I want to verify that. Was it in a Facebook group? Was it on the news? Did you see it on another YouTube video? Okay, so I'm going to go back and start playing this, but if you guys, if anyone has that information, I would love to know, because I was not able, unmasked. Okay. Okay. You know what? Let's zip over there. Let's zip over to unmasked. Stay with me. I'm going to zip over there. Apparently I like saying zip over there. Unmasked. There it is. Okay. So I got to stop sharing that. I got to do this. Was it on the community tab? True Crime with T. Donwell's sister speaks. Oh, Lord. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let me know. Let me please know in the chat. Do you want to go to the unmasked video and dissect that, or do you want to finish with Chris McDonough? Let me know, please. Okay, Patricia, I hear you. Yeah, and then you're like, where did I see that? That's like me too. That's why I always have 75 tabs open. But I could not find anything on that. But it's not to say that I don't believe you. I want to make sure. Okay, who is Colleen? Red Zeppelin? Your name is amazing. BT Dubs. I used to love Led Zeppelin back in the day. I still do. But I don't listen to music that much anymore, guys. I need to get back into that. Don's sister posted in Facebook today. switch over to unmasked? All right, we only got one vote. And I've already seen the interview room, and it is interesting. The highlights that I'll tell you from that are that when he spoke with Candace, one of the things that she made sure to let him know was that Hunter's account of the order of events was incorrect, which my thoughts were, so what? To be honest. Oh, okay. I remember it was an English lady, first name Colleen. Is her channel True Crime Obsessed? Well, anyway, let's go to Unmasked and see what's going on with this. Share. Audio. You like how I'm narrating this while I do it, guys? Unmasked YouTube. There it is. Okay, I've got it. I'm here. Here it is. All right, we're going to skip the pleasant.
So I thank you guys for your patience. I know everybody was in chat, like, what is going on? Why isn't this starting? What's happening? So I said, screw it. Let's just go for it. And you guys can join in on all the fun of having to reconnect and do things.
Okay.
Yeah, it's telling her that it's blocking her cam and her mic, even though she's hitting allow.
We're going to pass all this.
Right. We could maybe ask his stepsister if she knows anything further about that.
Okay, hi everyone. Okay, I think I'm back now, and I've got the lovely Mary on the phone. I want to make sure that you guys can hear her. So Mary, can you say something just to check and see if they can hear you okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear her perfectly. Hi, Mary.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
I want to make sure that the people that are watching can hear you, and then everybody is saying yes, so sounds perfect. Yes. So we're very thankful that Mary has taken the time to come on and talk to us a little bit about growing up with Dawn and any insight that she has into. Obviously, the whole goal of all of this has always been to let's do what we can to help find Summer and squash the rumors that we can, why we are still looking for her, and then she's also going to give us an update on what she knows that's happening recently. I am way louder than anybody else. Well, that's typical sassy. I am typically just louder than everybody else. I will try to tone it down a little bit. This is new for me doing it this way. So I will turn my volume down. Let's see if that works for you guys. Or I'll turn my voice down because I get a little loud and rambunctious. I apologize. Okay. So Mary, do you want to tell us like your relationship with Dawn and like how you two know each other and growing up with Dawn?
Well, like I told Melissa, I think her name is, I told her that I actually met Dawn when I was probably about 4 years old, probably. And is how this came about was my mom answered a babysitting ad for Donnie's parents. And so she started babysitting Donnie and his two sisters when they were, probably 3 and 4 years old, 2, 3, and 4. So that's how this all came about. And then as the months or years went on, probably about a year or so later, my mom and Donnie's dad started seeing each other. So, and then they didn't get married until I was probably about 11.
Oh, okay. So they dated for quite a while.
Right. Well, they were actually both still married in the very first. They were seeing each other. And then they both got divorced probably 4 or 5 years later. And so it escalated, from there and went on. So
how many children are your siblings? How many kids did your mom have? And then how many children did Dawn's dad bring into the family?
Okay. My mom had 6 children. And then Dawn has 3, which is Donnie, Sonia, and Heidi.
Okay. And then you guys were all young at the same time. Was there anybody that was like older and already grown and leaving?
Well, yeah, my older sisters and brother. I have my oldest sister, Debbie. She was out and married and on her own by the time Donnie's dad and my mom got married. And then also my older brother which is 1 year younger than Debbie, he was pretty much out on his own also. So it was just 4 of my mom's kids and then 3 of my stepdad's kids. So.
Okay. And what's the age difference between you and Don?
Between me and Donnie, we are about a month apart, I believe. My birthday is in October and his is in November of 64.
Oh, okay. So how was it when you guys combined families? How was it growing up?
It was really hard at first because there was a lot of kids. And when my mom and dad first got married and got together, they bought a little trailer and it was just a little 2-bedroom. So it was kind of hard because in the 1 bedroom was my mom and dad's, and then they had my little sister Jeannie in with them in a crib pretty much, or a little bed. And then the 2nd bedroom we had 2 sets of bunk beds in, and then the rest of the kids just slept on the front room floor and like the couch and chairs because there was a lot of kids and not enough room really. So but it was kind of hard when we first started getting together and growing up. So there was a lot of kids in the house.
A lot of kids in a small place. So was there a big like outdoors? Were you guys like able to like go out and do a lot of things, like outdoorsy things?
Oh yeah, we were always outside playing. And, yeah.
So how was your relationship with Don and Don's siblings?
Actually, it was pretty good because, like I said, we knew them before they got together. Started living together, and got married. We knew because we had grown up with them from about the age of 4 or 5. So it wasn't too bad because we knew each other. So
You guys were all friends. Did you guys go to like the same schools?
Yes, actually, we did when we were younger. When my mom first started babysitting Donnie and his 2 sisters, we all went pretty much to the same elementary except for the older kids on my mom's side. So.
How was the relationship like with like the exes? Because you were saying that like both your parents were married at the time when they first met. So
right.
was your dad like around, and then was his mom around?
Well, no, not really. I mean, I hate to say it, but Donnie's mom she did do a lot of drugs, a lot of cocaine and stuff back when kids were little. I remember my stepdad telling us that his wife, Donnie's mom, had done she took a lot of pills, I guess, back then, but that was back in the 70s. So I don't know, I just know that a lot of doctors prescribed a lot of pills to women back then, like Valium and, all that other stuff. So, and then my dad, my mom and dad's marriage was rocky from the time I was small. I mean, I really didn't even know my real dad until I was about 10 years old. I mean, I just kind of knew that he was a man that came home every once in a while,
So Don's dad was like your dad?
Yes, yeah. Don's dad, he's been a lot better of a father to me than my real dad ever was.
And he still lives close to you, correct? Not in Tennessee by Donnie.
Yeah. My mom and dad live just maybe 15 minutes from me. So
that's good. That's the same as my parents. Like to keep tabs on him,
How was Don as a child growing up? Was he typically a good boy, or was he a boy that liked to get in trouble, play in the mud? Or
well, he did get into a lot of trouble when he was younger. He was pretty mischief. Like for instance, when he was 5 years old, I believe, him and his sister was out in the barn playing with matches, and he burnt my dad's barn down.
Oh, wow.
Horses died, cattle died, chickens died, goats died in that fire. It was a big fire.
Wow.
Was it like he was just playing with fire like by there, or?
I think they were just in the barn playing with matches, and of course there's a lot of hay and stuff in there, and it just caught fire. So.
Goodness.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I remember when that happened.
Do you remember like teenage years, like how that was?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, Donnie was pretty much always around, through the teenage years. When he hit about 15 years old or so, he started getting into trouble. He started stealing from like stores and stuff like that, and getting into trouble, and always going. Of course, he couldn't go to jail at the age of 15 or 16, 17 years old, but we had a place down here in Roy, Utah. It was called Movita, and that's where they would take unruly teenage kids, and they would put them in there for a couple weeks, a couple of months, however long it took to try and get them on the right track. So.
And then how old was Don when he got married the first time? You don't have to like say like his ex-wife's name or them, but or his children.
Trying to think when he got married. It probably would have had to have been about 84, 85 when he got married. Because his oldest son, little Donnie, I believe he was born the same year as my son was, which was in '86. So.
And then were you close to him at that time still, like when he had his two oldest children?
Actually, him and his ex-wife, and they used to come over to me and my ex-husband's house all the time when his two oldest kids were little. Yeah, they were always coming over to our house and visit him at least 3 times a week or so.
So you were close with your niece and nephew?
Oh yeah, yep. And I mean, pretty much everybody in the family we were always stopping by their house wherever they lived. They were always at my mom's house, we were always over there and helping them, trying to help them out with kids.
Okay, so as he got older, then there's been a lot of speculation about the 2 older children. And I'm hoping that maybe you'll be able to clear any of it up. If it's not something that you can talk about, by all means, just say I don't know, or I can't answer that. There's been a lot of rumors that he tried to sell his 2 older children at one point.
Right. Now it wasn't the 2 oldest children; it was his oldest son. And what had happened is his ex-wife had came to my mom's house with the 2 kids. And I think little Donnie, his oldest, was only about 2 years old at the time, I think. And anyway, she came in and said that she had just caught Donnie downtown trying to sell his oldest son for drugs.
And he was 2 at the time.
Yeah, his little boy was about 2 years old at the time. But he was into a lot of drugs at that time. So.
Okay, and obviously that didn't happen. So. Was there any help that was given after that to? Because the other rumor is that the 2 older children were seen with in very bad conditions. With the stuff on social media kind of gets out of control sometimes. That there's maggots in their diapers and.
Right. When they were growing up, the house was their homes that they lived in, which was many. They were always really messy. The kids, I always tried, when the kids were babies and stuff, I always tried going over there. And every time I would pass their house or anything, just going to the store or doing whatever, I would stop in to check on them. I would pretty much just stop in so I could bathe them and dress them in clean clothes and change their diapers and feed them. And because I really don't think that Donnie's ex-wife really knew how to take care of children. She said that she had kids before that, like 5 or 6 children before that, but they all got taken from her.
Oh.
So and then when she had the 2 kids with Donnie, she wasn't a very good housekeeper. She, I don't think she really even knew how to keep house, or she didn't know how to cook. She didn't know how to take care of the babies after they were born. I would go over there and little Donnie would be laying in the crib with his bottle propped up at 2 weeks old. And it's like, no, dude, you can't do that. You have to hold them, when you feed them and stuff. And she wouldn't really listen, she just went on and done her own thing.
Was she very young?
No, actually, she's about probably 10 years older than Donnie. She's probably about 65 by now.
Oh, okay. So did those kids, the 2 older children of Dawn's, was there a lot of like CPS? I don't know if it's called CPS where you are, but like, Family Protective Services, Child Protective Services. Was there anything like that?
Oh yeah, we always try calling CPS and stuff because everybody in the family, we always felt so sorry for the kids, But CPS, it's just like they would never do anything. I don't understand. But there was one time that they did make Donnie's ex-wife take like a parenting class or something. They were trying to teach her how to cook and keep house and parent and stuff, because they did come to a point to where they were going to take them once, but she had to agree to take these parenting classes and stuff.
What about Donnie? He didn't have to take the parenting classes?
I don't think so. I don't think they made him take them. I just know that his ex-wife ended up having to, and I think she only took a couple of classes, and then, if they ever came to try and take the kids or check up on them, they would just leave and move somewhere else, and then we wouldn't know where they would go, or we wouldn't hear from them for like a couple of months or something. And then all of a sudden they would start coming around again, and it's like, well, where you guys been? Where do you live? So.
And how are the kids?
The kids were just, like I said, everybody in the family felt really bad. We wanted to do everything we could, to help them. And even me and my ex-husband even tried adopting Donnie's little girl. Her name is Margie, and we tried adopting her when she was about 3 years old. And what it was they needed money really bad, and we didn't agree with the way they were raising their kids. And I talked to my husband and I said, well, let's try and offer him some money and adopt Margie, and they were going to do it and everything. Donnie was all for it, but they had come over one night to sign the papers, and Donnie's ex-wife wanted to keep coming over and seeing Margie, and she wanted to take her and stuff. I told her, I said, no. I said, if we adopt her, she is going to be ours. You have no contact with her at all. And she didn't want to do that, so it pretty much fell through.
Did you witness any abuse, like any heavy hand abuse or any form of abuse in the home when you were a child or as an adult with his children?
No, nothing, not really like him hitting them or anything. I never seen any of that, but just the the kids were dirty, they didn't have, always had dirty clothes on, always a dirty diaper, I don't know so much as to where maggots were in the diapers. I never really seen that.
Okay.
But they were, they were dirty. The kids were dirty, and they were living in, just yucky conditions.
Did you see as they got as Donnie and his wife got older and the children got older, did you see a change at all?
Not really, no. I mean, like when the kids started getting older and stuff, because their kids were kind of around my kids' age. I think like I said, little Donnie was my son's age, and Margie was a little younger than that. But as they grew and stuff, I would always go over there and offer her clothes for the kids, from my kids, hand me down, so they would have, better clothes than they did have.
So how did it go when they split? How did the children do then?
Well, it was kind of hard because when they split up, Donnie went his way and she went the other way, and she took the kids with her. Donnie didn't have the kids. I remember that she would take off to Arkansas and Tennessee and Kentucky. She would always constantly move around. I would go to my mom's and ask her if she's heard from her or anything like that. There was one time when I can't remember where she was living or where the kids were, but my mom had got a call from the state, wherever she was, and they were telling her that the kids had been going to school and they had lice and they had scabies. And so I guess when they found out that the kids were, with all this stuff going on, apparently they went to take the kids home, and she was living in an abandoned home with no walls or something. And I think they were living there for a couple of months or something. But I had asked Donnie once if she had been homeless or anything. And he said, yeah, that she was homeless when he met her. So, and even to this day, I still see her out on the streets, down here in Ogden, and she's homeless right now. She's living in a shelter. And she begs for money and food, and
oh, gee.
Every once in a while she'll go to my mom's, and I'll see her at my mom's every once in a while. But
and how about your niece and nephew?
Then now little Donnie, I see him probably a couple times a month or so. He lives down here in Ogden, just not too far from one of my sisters, and so I see him quite a bit, like at my mom's and his wife and their kids. And so yeah, but Margie, she's living. I'm not sure where she's living right now. She's married and she's had a couple of kids, I think, on her own. And but I haven't kept in touch with Margie I haven't seen her. It's probably been at least about 15 years or so.
Oh, okay. So when did Donnie move away? Brother Donnie, not nephew Donnie.
Oh gosh, it's been like 25 years ago was when he left.
Okay, so have you met Candace or any of the children that they have together?
Okay, I have never met Candace before, but Josie, I did meet him when Donnie came down here. I believe it was probably in about August or so, because he was here for about 3 months and then he left in October.
Oh, so Donnie came with his oldest son with Candace, and he stayed there for like 3 months?
Yeah, Candace wasn't with him. It was just him and Josie.
Was it a planned trip?
No, it was really weird because I got a call from my mom and she goes, "Oh, Donnie's here." And I said, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, Donnie's here." And I said, "Oh, well, that's cool." And then, I don't know, about 4 or 5 hours later, I went over there and there he was. And then I went to the house with my mom and I said, "Well, what's he doing here?" And she goes, "I don't know, he just showed up." And I said, "Oh, okay." And then I was talking to Donnie a little bit later and I said, "So what are you doing down here?" And he said, "Well, I want to move back here." And he goes, "I really miss Utah." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Well, what about your wife and your other kids?" And he goes, "Oh, they're back in Tennessee. They're packing up the house and she's putting the house up for sale. And when she gets it sold, I'm going to go back and get her and the kids and bring them down here." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, that's cool." So, but yeah.
Did he want one son and not the others? I'm sorry, Melissa, I'll let you go next. I apologize.
No, he never did. He never did say why. It was actually kind of a mystery as to why he even showed up. I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird.
Go ahead, Melissa.
No, I was just going to ask, was there a reasoning why they didn't end up moving to Utah?
Well, Donnie told me, and which is a true fact, the housing has skyrocketed here in Utah. I mean, just like a year ago, 2 years ago, I mean, you could get a house for probably about $200,000, and today that house is going to cost you probably $600,000 now. And so, as him living in Tennessee, he said he could only get maybe $50,000, $60,000 or something out of his home in Tennessee, and that wouldn't get him far if they were to move down here. You know what I mean?
Well, I did see a post that Candace put up.
Huh?
I did see a post Candace put up. I don't remember the date. I don't know if you remember it, Teresa, but she was looking to sell her home. I believe it was March 2020, and I think she said it was only for $7,000 or
70,000.
70,000. Yes, 70,000.
Yeah. Donnie said that they were putting their house up for sale and they were going to move here, but once he got here and seen how the housing prices was, he kind of freaked out. He was like, "There ain't no way." So.
His mom left him the property in Tennessee when she passed away, correct?
Yes.
Do you know how much land there was that was left?
I don't. Okay.
I don't. Do you happen to know when they were going to sell it, if they ended up selling any of the property, like acres on their own?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. I just know when he got here, he said they were putting up the house for sale and they were going to move down here, but I don't know. I don't know what his plan was, because I know that I had talked to my mom once. I talked to her a few times while he was here, but I had went over there one time. She was just bitching up a storm, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And she goes, "Well, Donnie thinks that he's going to move his wife and his kids and the mother-in-law all down here and live with us." And I'm like, "What?"
Like in the house with mom and dad?
Yeah. And I was like, "Well, I hope he set him straight and told him that wasn't going to happen, because there ain't no way, you know?" So, but she was kind of upset about that. So I don't know if Donnie had talked to them about, I'm guessing Donnie must have talked to him and said, "Well, I was thinking of moving the family in with you guys, but that's I told my mom, I said, you can't let that happen. That's no way, that can't happen.
So he got there at beginning of August, end of August.
Yeah, he was here for about 3 months. I just know he left in October. So, but he was here for about 3 months. Yeah.
Did you ever get to talk to the other kids, or like when he was like when you were around and he was like on the phone with them or anything like that?
Well, when he was down here with Josie, I mean, I tried to talk to Josie and stuff, but he wouldn't say much. And I asked my mom, I'm like, well, what's going on with him? Why won't he talk to me? And she goes, I don't know. I guess he's just really shy. But I had went over there one time, and I don't know. Josie was in my mom's house watching cartoons or something, TV, and I was trying to talk to him, and Donnie came in. He had just got off work, and he got really mad at Josie because he was in the house, and I was like, well, he's good. He don't have to, because Donnie was staying in a motorhome in the driveway of my mom's. So that's where him and Josie were staying, was out there in the motorhome. But Donnie got really upset at me because I was trying to talk to him. I don't know why.
He didn't was it about something specific, or he just didn't want you talking to him at all?
I think he wanted me talking to him. I was just asking him how old he was and what grade he was in and how school was doing and just stuff like that.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Did you ever see him doing like schoolwork? Because August to October was the beginning of the school year, even though we had restrictions and most kids did it online. Did you ever see him doing schoolwork?
Right. No, I never did see him doing schoolwork. Donnie said that he had him enrolled, and my mom also told me that he had him enrolled in school. And but my mom said there was quite a few days that Donnie would get up and go to work, and of course he's at work. He don't know, but Josie would never go to school.
So Don got a job while he was up at your parents' house?
Yep, he sure did.
Was it like a permanent job or just like some odds and end like handiwork? Because I know he does drywall and stuff. Was it like old friends or?
I think he was working for a contractor up in Park City somewhere.
So did you ever get to have a conversation with Josie at all?
Not really. He really wouldn't talk to me. He just acted like he was really withdrawn and really shy.
Okay. And then did you ever hear anything about marital issues with him and Candace during that time?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't hear anything about marital issues until Donnie left here, and about 4 days after he left, my dad got a call from Donnie. He was in jail. He said that he had just got through beating up some guy that Candace had living in the house.
Okay. So he got in trouble for fighting with this guy that was living there while he was up there.
Right. And then I guess when he found out about that guy living there was when he got here, and he got home and found the guy in the house, and then beat the crap out of him, I guess. And then Candace called the cops on Donnie.
So did he ever talk to you about, did Donnie ever talk to you about his relationship with his other children, Summer specifically?
Nope, not really. No.
Okay, so he goes back down and there's some marital issues with some guy living in the house. And do you guys stay in contact up until, are you guys like in contact, like frequent contact? Do you talk every once in a while?
I don't. I pretty much get my information from my mom, because Donnie calls my dad at least once a week. So when did you first hear about Summer going missing? it was, I believe, 2 days after she went missing. My sister had posted a thing on her Facebook saying, "Please pray for my niece. She's been missing for a couple of days." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know that." And I was really upset about it. So yeah, it was a couple of days after.
Is this the sister that had some issues with Don when they were young?
No, this is another sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you heard about it basically on Facebook.
Yeah, through my sister. Yeah, and then I had called my mom and I was like, "What's going on?" And she said that the day she disappeared, I guess Donnie called my dad and was telling him, my daughter's missing. So.
And did he say what happened?
He didn't. Well, I'm sure he told my dad, but I haven't asked my dad about that. So I don't know the conversation. I just know from what my mom said. My mom just said that he had called and said that Summer was missing. So.
And has he been keeping your parents like in the loop of what's like been happening since then?
Oh yeah, he calls my mom, my dad. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And what do your parents think of what's going on?
They're very upset about it. You know, my dad is just, oh my gosh, he's going crazy over this. And my mom, she just don't know. You know, she don't know what to do. You know, they're older. My mom's 77 and my dad's what, 84, 85, and my dad's been probably 90% bedridden for the last year, and my mom can barely, you know, get up and walk around and stuff. They both have Alzheimer's, and my mom has dementia. She takes pills for it, but you know, all this information and stuff that they're getting from Donnie and him calling them, it's not a good thing. You know, it's just not a really good thing.
So have you heard any other details about what they, you know, what Donnie is saying happened at all? I mean, has anybody talked to you about that?
Not really. You know, like I said, I've talked to my other sisters and stuff about it. You know, like I keep trying to tell everybody, you know, because they keep asking me, well, what do you think happened to her? And it's like, no, gosh, I have no clue. I mean, I wish I did, but I just don't know. And like I said, I can speculate like everybody else. I just have no clue.
Now, everyone's saying that Don ran away or took off. Can you clear that rumor up for everyone?
Right. I don't know, you know, because like I said, I've heard, but I don't know for sure. I had just heard the rumor that Candace had told the one reporter at the park that day that she had woke up and Donnie was gone. Well, my mom and dad had been trying to get a hold of Donnie all that day, and actually the day before that, and they couldn't get a hold of him. But my mom said that Donnie told her there wasn't good cell service there. And I said, well, I read on Facebook that he took off last night. Is that true? And she goes, I don't know. We can't find him. He won't answer his phone. And then later on, I went to my other sister's house, and she was telling me that she had heard that, I think her name's Robin from the church. She had heard that Robin had got a hold of Donnie and talked him into coming back home. So I don't know if that's true or not. It's just what I've heard.
That's the same as what we've heard so far, but no confirmation on whether he actually left or was just gone for like a day and then came home.
Right.
Yeah, I have no clue.
So the
now,
big.
I have a question about Don with the church. Has he always been religious, or is this something new since Summer disappeared?
No, he's never been religious. He's the only time that Donnie ever gets religious, through my experience from growing up with him, was when he would get in trouble or something, or get out of jail or get out of prison. Oh, you know, and he's like, oh, I've been reading the Bible and this is the way to go. And I'm like, well, I'm really proud of you. That's awesome. But then
he had some jailhouse religion.
Yeah, a couple weeks later, a month later, he would be back in the same boat. He would be doing drugs and back in jail again. So
when he was up there from August to October, did you witness any type of drug use?
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, he smoked a lot of weed, and like I said, and also my dad, on top of having Alzheimer's, he has stage 4 kidney cancer. He told me that the doctor told him a couple of weeks ago he's got less than a year left to live. But he smoked marijuana for the pain. And he does have a medical marijuana card, but Donnie was always stealing his marijuana from me when he was down here. So.
Okay, so the big question is then, have you heard about where the boys are currently?
Yeah, I talked to my mom yesterday, and she said that Donnie had called, and he was crying to my dad, and he was saying that CPS had came and took his 3 boys, and he was blaming it on Trish because of the things she said on Facebook, and my sister Jeannie.
That's your niece and your sister.
Yeah, and then also I guess he started blaming stuff on my daughter, and I was like,
on your daughter?
Yeah, and I was like, Mom, Amanda has nothing to do with this. I don't understand what he's saying, because my daughter hasn't said nothing, you know, or anything on Facebook or any of them pages for Summer or anything. And so that was kind of weird, and I was just like thinking, well, it must be a different Amanda then, because it's not my daughter, because my daughter would definitely tell me, you know.
Well, what did he say why the boys were taken?
Well, he thinks it's because of Jeannie and Trish putting all that stuff on Facebook about him, you know, molesting and raping my sister and stuff. I think Donnie thinks that's why they took his kids. But basically, that's just, you know, that's.
Weren't they supposed to come and take the 4 children prior to Summer disappearing?
And that's another thing I heard. My one sister had told me that CPS, actually, the day that Summer went missing, CPS was coming to take all 4 of the kids.
And they were told, like, we'll be here on June 15th to pick up the children?
I guess so, because I believe my sister had talked to Candace, and that's what Candace had told her, that they were coming to take the kids that day, but with Summer ended up missing, I think they kind of dropped taking the kids because of all that was going on.
So then what would have been the reasoning for the kids getting taken prior to Summer's disappearing if it wasn't for your sister and niece saying those things on social media?
Right. Well, I think it's just because their house was always, messy and the kids were being neglected, I'm guessing. But, like I said, I don't know about the house being messy and stuff because I've never been there, so
That's fair.
I'm just going off of how, he used to be, how he used to live in filth and, the kids were always dirty and everything, so I don't know. I'm just guessing. Also, I had heard that CPS had been there numerous times before Summer went missing. So
we've heard that speculated that multiple people had called CPS and had them go out and check what was going on. I'm sorry, I had a question. Melissa, did you have a question?
No.
Did when you were talking to either your parents or with Dawn at all, has there been any like conversations about what you guys think happened?
Well, no, not really. I mean, there has been conversations between like me and my sisters and stuff like that, and we kind of speculate on what might have happened. But I think there's more to this than, you know what I mean? I really think that it all started when Donnie came down here. I don't know why, but I think it just has to tie in with everything.
I don't know how to ask that correctly. Have you guys, has anybody in your family that you know of, like, asked them directly, like, what happened?
I know my dad has, and Donnie had just told him exactly, pretty much what he's been telling everybody else, that Candace called him and said Summer was missing, and he was at work, and he called 911 and got home and started looking for her. So that's pretty much what he told my dad. So
have you watched Don's interviews that he's done?
I have. Yep.
Does that seem like the Donnie that you know?
Yeah. The very first interview he done, I could tell that he had been crying. The one with Josie, his son. Mm-hmm. I could tell that he had been crying. His face was all red. His eyes were all, puffed up from crying. And so, I really do think he's probably sincere. I don't know. I don't think Donnie had anything to do with it. But like I said, I can just speculate just like everybody else.
Do you think that it would, if the rumor was that CPS was coming that day to take the children, do you think they would have hidden Summer somewhere? Have you guys thought that might be an option? Is that something you think could happen?
We were kind of on the sidelines of that, talking, in the family, me and my sisters and stuff. I don't know. It's just, I just wish they could find her already.
Oh, goodness, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
It has just been such a devastating, since this all happened. And, I try to get online and, of course I'm going to try to defend my family, and about, everybody's talking about us and, of course you're going to try and defend your family, and I'm not defending Donnie or Candace or anything. I'm not saying they did it. I'm not saying they didn't do it. I have no clue.
Do you know by any chance if Candace's mom went back to Wisconsin or is she still in Tennessee?
I have no idea. I don't know.
And I believe your sister is actually in chat too, and she thinks that it wasn't because of the social media posts, that nobody has actually been contacted for an interview from CPS.
Right. Yeah. I don't know about that. I just know that Donnie called my dad and said that they took his 3 boys yesterday morning.
Right, and that he blames it on the social media posts. Yeah, we definitely want to make that clear that Donnie is blaming it on the social media posts. We aren't necessarily agreeing that would ever happen.
Right. Yeah, he's blaming it on the post that my sister and niece put on there. Yeah.
Jeannie, thank you for being in the comments tonight too. We really appreciate you too. So you had a lot of people I think are just coming on. She had not met Candace or Summer. She's met Donnie and Candace's oldest son when they were up for a temporary stay, August through October. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. Let's see.
How did Don meet Candace?
Mary, do you know how Don and Candace met?
I don't. I have no idea.
Did you know that they were together, that they were having children? Like, had anybody talked to them? Had they was there no?
Well, when he first met Candace, I remember, going to my mom's and, because I'm interested, in what he's doing and how he's getting along and stuff. And, when he first met her and moved her in, I guess, and everything, and they started having kids. And, I was asking my mom, I'm like, so he found him a wife, huh? And I was saying, well, well, that's good. Maybe that's all he needed was a good woman to help him along. And you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes that's all it takes is a good woman to come along and get somebody like, you know, that ain't doing too good or hasn't done good in their life and help turn them around. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, well, that's good, because Donnie had been in and out of prison and jail since he was like 16, 17 years old. And so that really, you know, it made me happy to know that he found somebody, you know, and that she was keeping him in line, or so I thought, you know, so yeah, I thought it was a good thing, you know, and I was like, okay, good. She's, you know, they're doing good. He's out of prison, you know, he's got his mom's house, he's working. I was really, you know, happy about that. So.
Do you know if they're actually legally married?
I don't. I have no idea.
What do you know about the grandma Candace that goes by Candy? Do you know anything about her?
I don't know anything about her at all.
I did see a few places that people were mentioning that there was another child after Summer.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what my mom said, that they had given it up for adoption or something, but I had no clue. So.
Was that they were supposed to give up Summer for adoption, or that there was another baby after that was given up for adoption?
I think there was another baby that she had after Summer, but don't quote me on it because I'm not sure.
Okay.
This is what I've heard, that she had another baby after Summer and they had given it up for adoption. So I don't know.
Okay, let's see.
Was it a boy or a girl? Do you know that?
I don't know.
Were you ever told anything about Summer being nonverbal or having any type of disability?
Yeah, actually, I was talking to my one sister, and she said yes, that Summer was kind of slow, you know, in learning a little bit, you know. So I think she did have a little bit of a disability.
Did anybody ever say if she was nonverbal?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Let's see. I want to make sure that we get any other questions that people are asking in chat, even though it's going pretty quick. Melissa, do you have any?
Yes, I do want to ask about, because everyone is.
Okay, hold up. Now this is where I just have to chime in just because it came up, okay? And I do have some expertise in this area as a former teacher of many, many years. And yeah. So from what I've seen of Summer, and granted, I have not completed, you know, an evaluation on Summer, nor can anyone do so based on what we have seen of her in, you know, the limited videos and so forth that we have, okay? But I will just say that from what I have seen, she seems to be very, very sensory seeking for sure. And I say that because in the videos that we've seen, she seems to always be seeking some sort of sensory input, whether she's running around, whether she's smelling someone's hair or feeling someone's hair, snuggling with someone. So there's like this, there's this lack of boundaries because she's feeding that need for sensory input, the need for touch, the need for, yeah. So I would speculate and consider possibly autism spectrum. And I have heard her talk, but again, we in no way have enough information to make any kind of diagnosis. So I would never attempt to do that. And I would question anyone else that would do that based on the limited information that we have. However, it would seem that she may have a delay in her speech as well. I would not refer to her as nonverbal in any way. She definitely has words to express herself. Now, are they on par with a 5-year-old? No, not from what I've seen, and which is not a lot. Okay, that's my disclaimer on that. But okay, let's see what she's going to ask about. Summer clung to people because she was emotionally deprived, unnurtured, not mothered. Yeah, I think that is part of it as well. I think that's absolutely, definitely a factor. But I've also seen her, and this was just in one of the videos, where she's not, I think Robin or whoever it is that's up on the stage will not pick her up, okay? And so she goes to, there's this box of something, and it's like some kind of strings or streamer type thing. Oh God, it almost looked like Easter grass maybe, and she was playing around in that, which is, I think any kid might look at and do for a little bit. But she just seemed more more toddler like in her fixation on it than 5-year old like. So she could very well be just like Mary was saying, just a little bit behind, just a little bit developmentally delayed. Um, but she could be on the spectrum. And definitely that emotional. Although I question that because just because of what we heard about Don being so, Summer's the love of his life and, just she's his world. And then again, he's at work a lot. So maybe she didn't get that much attention during the day from Candace. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I've worked with children with issues like Summer, and I have a niece on my husband's side that was a little who strive for attention. Yeah. So all of those things can work together, guys. I mean, she could very well be on the spectrum, but also have been a little bit emotionally neglected, and it can all be going on at the same time. But anyway, we're just speculating, just talking. So let's see what the next question is going to be.
So big onto Summer's hair being shaved. Do you know the reasoning why it was shaved? Was it lice? Was it because she wanted to be like her brothers? Because everyone keeps going back and forth with that, and I don't understand why.
Right. Well, myself, now this is just what I think because I wasn't there. I don't know. I really do think it was because they had lice because Donnie's two oldest kids, they constantly had lice. And
Oh
even
my gosh.
his wife, I don't know about Donnie, but his ex-wife had lice really, really bad too. And she would just shave the kids' heads. She wouldn't even mess with the shampoo or nothing. She would just shave them completely off. So
now, do you know anything about Candace's sister, Rose, the one that has been missing for 10, 11 years? Or if Don has ever talked about her?
Yeah, I don't. Just stuff of what I've seen on Facebook or read, I have no clue.
Has anybody in your family met any of the other children besides the oldest son? Or I mean, I should say of Candace's children, the other boys or Summer?
Yeah, the only other person I know of is his oldest son, little Donnie. I believe he went to Tennessee and when Summer was just about 6 months old or something.
Oh.
I believe he was there, but I think he's the only one that I know of, other than, all us kids. He's the only one that I know of that has met Candace.
I missed something about your sister possibly, so hold on, I'm just scrolling through.
People are asking her to come up on panel.
Just want to make sure I don't miss something that she says. The chat goes by quite quickly when there's that many people there. So, and Jeannie, obviously you're more than welcome to come on if that's something that you would want to do. So just know that if it is, you're welcome to. Let's see. Have you heard that the EchoSearch, the Midwest EchoSearch, is actually coming in to do some big searches this weekend?
I have.
I'm hopeful.
Yes, yes, I hope. I'm hoping like crazy that they find her.
Yeah, and anybody that's in chat that's also in Facebook groups, they've made it very clear they want to make sure that nobody posts anything about what they're doing or takes pictures or anything like that and post them on social media. So just FYI, if you guys are in that area, just keep those photos to yourself, please, because this is about finding Summer.
Right. I hope no one would do that.
A lot of questions are coming up. Do you happen to know how Donnie's relationship is with Donnie Jr. and his daughter? Like how are they now?
When Donnie was down here, he actually went over to his son's house quite a bit. They seem like they have a pretty good relationship. And his daughter, I'm not sure about his older daughter.
You haven't talked to her for a while.
I haven't seen her or talked to her for probably about 10 or 15 years. Yeah.
I have to ask, do you think that, like, what's your gut tell you? Do you think that Summer's alive?
Oh my gosh. A part of me feels like she is. I kind of feel like maybe Candace might have sold her or gave her to somebody or something, but it's just my gut feeling. I did put on one of the sites one time, a couple of weeks ago, about because Donnie kept talking about sex trafficking or traffickers taking her. And I just was wondering, is there any place on the web that you could go to?
Definitely not places I want to go.
You know, to see if they're putting her picture out there for sex trafficking, or, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because I don't know if there's any sites out there that does that. A lot of people came back. They were kind of upset at me for asking that question, but you know, I mean, it's just.
I think it's a pretty fair question. They do have, like the FBI does have databases that they have people who are very computer savvy and get into all of those things so that they can monitor photos for missing kids. How accurate and how efficient it is, I wouldn't be able to answer for you. But I know that there are definitely law enforcement entities that take care of looking at that.
Honestly, in my opinion, I think Don just went along with, you know, the sex trafficking because he knew there was over 50 sex offenders in that area.
Right.
I believe. So I think with everyone saying that, I think he just probably maybe thought that she was abducted by a sex offender.
Right. Yeah. You know, and I just thought, well, if there was maybe somebody like that had her or took her, I thought, well, gosh, if they're going to use her for that or something, you know, I'm sure they're trying to put her picture out there so they can advertise or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, maybe if they found her picture or something, they could find her, you know.
Did you ever hear about anybody staying on their property with them, or some campers on some neighboring land?
I did. I was talking to one of my sisters, and she said that about a week before Summer went missing, there was a guy or a couple of guys that pitched a tent or something up on their property, and Donnie and Candace, I guess, went down there and confronted them and told them they had to pack up and leave. I heard it was quite a confrontation with them. And they also ended up having to like call the cops and stuff just to get them off their property.
Oh.
So that's what I heard from my other sister. So.
Did you ever hear anything about like somebody actually staying on their property, like actually staying with them, or in one of their outdoor or outhouse areas?
No, I just heard about them pitching the tent or something and staying on their property. I guess they'd been there for 3 or 4 days or something, and Candace and Donnie had been trying to get them off the property, and they wouldn't leave, and so they ended up having to call the cops. And finally, when they called the cops, they ended up leaving. So,
did you happen to follow any of the interviews with like the boy who happened to spend the last day with Summer or anything like that? Do you have any opinions on any of that?
Well, I don't know. From his interview and stuff, from what everybody's been saying, I think he might know a little bit more than he's saying. I think his mom's probably trying to protect him, you know, a little bit. Of course, like any other mother would, you know,
right,
in this kind of a situation. So I don't know. My thought is, I think he knows a little bit more than what they're saying.
He might know something that he doesn't even know that he knows.
Right.
And that's very possible.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, I'm just seeing, make sure we don't have any other questions. Is there anything else that you can think of that you want to make sure that we know, you know, from your perspective, anything that you think that we need to take into account, or?
Gosh, not really. I just wish that they would I just hope they find her. I just, you know, every day, you know, I just pray, and, you know, I've never met her, but I cry for her.
Mm-hmm. I know. That's your
Absolutely.
niece.
Well, yeah, you know, even though I haven't met her,
we've never met her, and we can't stop thinking about her or trying to figure out what we can do. I'm like, so I totally understand.
Yeah, it's really sad. It's, you know, it's really sad because it's tearing our family apart.
I don't want that either. And I hope that Don knows, like, you're on here literally saying you don't think that he had anything to do with anything. So I hope that he's not upset with you for that.
Yeah, I really don't think he had anything to do with her disappearance. And, you know, I know there are a lot of animals around her, and that's another thing that came to mind. A lot of people say that wild boars will pick up a person or a child or another animal and take off with it and leave absolutely no traces left behind at all.
Well, that's actually one of the things that Candace had said, was that, you know, that Summer never wanders off, because they've made it very clear about the wooded areas having bears and snakes and bad, you know, things. So not to go there on your own. That's why one of the things that Candace said, she was adamant that Summer did not wander off on her own.
But then again, you have to look at it this way also. She's a little girl. She probably loves animals. You know, what if she's seen a baby bear or a baby something? Oh, come here, you know, and went to grab it or something. Or, you know what I mean?
I'm not ruling anything out. My gut doesn't tell me one thing or the other. I'm kind of like you. I've thought about all the different, you know, could it be this? Could it be that? I don't know. I know that there's something missing, obviously. I mean, obviously Summer's missing, but I mean, there's something missing in the storylines, but I don't know who, I don't know what, I don't know why. there's nothing telling me to go in one direction or the other. So.
Well, yeah, it's just, it seems so weird. You know what I mean? But then again, I've heard of kids missing like in the woods or, forests and stuff. For instance, we had a 2-year-old boy go missing up here in the UNs. It was probably about 10 years ago or so.
Is that the York Coons? Is that one?
I'm not sure. He was missing for, I think, 3 or 4 days.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, they found him alive 20 miles away from where he disappeared. And this was a 2-year-old boy with just a diaper on.
Any idea how he got that far?
He just walked. He walked.
What, 20 miles?
Yep. They found him alive 20 miles away. Yep.
Oh, Deer Coons is Idaho. So sorry. Yes. 20 miles.
Yeah. Yep. Unbelievable.
Oh, goodness. Do you think that Dawn would cover for Candace if something did happen and he knew about it?
It's really hard to say. I kind of think maybe, but then again, a lot of people are saying that like Donnie's, like in his interview with Candace, he's showing a lot of signs of like controlling stuff like that. But my dad is very controlling with my mother, Donnie's dad. So, and I'm thinking that's probably where he picked it up from, of course, from his dad, And so I do believe that Donnie is pretty controlling with his wife and kids, but I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah. Kind of weird. I don't know. I just kind of think that, like everybody's saying in that one interview when she keeps looking at Donnie to make sure, I don't know myself, I think she keeps looking at him to make sure it was okay as to what she was saying to the reporter, but.
Is it just controlling, like verbally controlling, or do you think like.
It's mind controlling. It's mind controlling. I don't know how else.
Verbal.
Yeah.
Control, manipulation, those types of things.
Right.
Well, I'm sure I have 1,000 questions that as soon as I hang up with you, Mary, I'm gonna be like, why didn't I ask you this?
Right.
This case, Summer has just like literally like we're like sucked into trying to figure out where she is, and I think it's because everybody looks at it so differently. Some people are like that she's definitely abducted. Some people are like something bad happened. Other people, have speculated that she is hidden somewhere, or that she just wandered off and nobody's ever found her. And she,
Right.
there's so many options, and like everybody's looking for some type of closure. So I pray for your family. I pray for Summer every day. I hope that it's kind of weird because I hope that somebody took her versus her just wandering off and not being able to survive either. You know what I mean? Because that's like there's at least a chance that she's out there somewhere and can be found.
Right. And I think about that too. I keep thinking, well, gosh, I hope just somebody might have taken her. But then again, if they did, who knows the torture she's going through, or if she's being treated right, or you know what I mean?
Right.
And that always crosses my mind. It's like I just wish they could find her. I just really do. It's just really sad.
Do you happen, before we I know a question that I did want to ask, did Donnie ever talk to your parents about taking the lie detector test?
I don't know. I haven't talked to my mom and dad about that, so
Okay.
I don't know. I know he said in his interviews that they had passed. I don't know, if the TBI or FBI or the cops or anything would say if, he was lying. I mean, why would he say that actually, on public television or whatever, why would he say they passed if they didn't? So I don't know, I'm hoping that they did, but it's just speculation because I guess nobody really knows if they did or not until actually somebody comes forward and says that they actually passed. I have no clue.
We typically wait for, law enforcement will say that everybody has passed, or, and they name persons of interest when they feel the time is right. And I trust that. And I know that obviously they have a lot more information than we do here on YouTube. So let me find it. Somebody had a question for you real quick, and I want to make sure that I don't miss it. Do you think that there was any type of abuse between Dawn and Summer?
Gosh, I don't know. I keep telling myself I don't think he would do that, but then again, the stuff that he did to my sister, and there was one incident that even happened with me when I was about 13 with Donnie and a couple of his friends. So, I don't know. I just don't know. I hate to say he would because I hate to think about that, but gosh, you never know. I don't know. And, another thing is Donnie, he was saying that, oh, I'm never going to drink again and I'm never going to do drugs again. And I've learned my lesson. And it kind of made me start thinking, well, what do you mean you learned your lesson? What lesson is it that you had to learn? You know what I mean?
Right. Is that recent, or is that from back?
That's from Donnie. Donnie said that probably about 3 weeks ago or so.
Oh.
Now, do you know by any chance, because now I'm hearing that the day Summer disappeared, apparently Don took was it two or all three of the boys to work that day, or he was supposed to?
Right. No, I just heard that from Hunter on his interview that he had the boys with him that day. So I have no clue. Candace said that they were at home.
Huh.
So,
Okay.
That was the first I had heard of the boys being at work with him.
right. Yeah.
You I have one question that got lost in the mix that I know that they wanted me to ask, and I don't want to miss it. So, do you think the religious stuff that you've seen as he's been posting on Facebook and the during the interviews, does that seem normal for Don?
No, that's not normal for him. No, that is not normal for him. He's, like I said, when we first started talking, he turns to Bible and church and stuff when
after something bad has happened.
Yeah, like he's been put in prison or something's happened or with him or something. He always turns to God and the Bible and church and everything, and I think that's wonderful. That's great, but it only lasts for a couple weeks, a month or two, and then he's right back to his old self. So
the other thing that we had heard was that he had gotten into religion after the October incident at the house. That he had gotten more into religion after that arrest.
I don't know about that. I just know that, all this stuff that he's talking about religion, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's losing his mind. I don't even understand why he's posting all this stuff. And I keep trying to tell him, I posted on his Facebook, dude, don't be posting stuff like this because people are just going to tear you apart.
Yes, they will.
And I mean, it's like he keeps accepting all these friends. He finally had to shut his Facebook down, but he started accepting all his friends before. He only had like 60 friends or something, and now he's got over 2,000.
Yep.
And I was asking his one biological sister, why is he accepting all these friends? They're just being mean to him and saying mean things. And I guess he told her that he wanted to accept everybody because what if they have information about Summer? So that's why he keeps accepting all these friends. And it's not a good thing.
No, it's not, unfortunately. But I mean, we see that only because of, following cases and knowing a lot of the people that are going to send the friend request. But somebody who's, wanting the help, I understand why he thinks that it would be the right thing to do, and who knows, one of those people is that the person that he's looking for, the needle in the haystack.
Right. Yeah.
So Don ever mention to you anything about some creepy guy being on the property? I see we were talking about that you watched, Hunter's interview. Did Don ever mention to you guys that there was some creepy guy around the property?
Just what that guy that was living in the tent that they were trying to get off of his property.
The same guy.
Yeah, I think that's the same guy. Yeah. So, there's just so many things that go through my mind, and with Johnny doing drugs and stuff, and I'm sure he's not doing it now because he said he quit doing drugs and drinking and everything. But before Summer went missing, days before or weeks or months or whatever, I know he was doing drugs and drinking, and I know for a fact that when you get a lot of people who are doing drugs, especially like the meth, that goes around and people do. And I mean, because in my own experience, I've had people who do meth and thought that they were my friends. Well, they once were before they started doing it. But then they start coming around and they're acting weird and they're acting different and they're on drugs. But you end up getting them pissed off and they will retaliate. You know what I mean?
Do you think that there was any type of like meth use or any other like drug like outside of marijuana and alcohol that was being used in the family?
I don't know. I do know marijuana and drinking. Yeah. But other than that, I don't know. I just know when Donnie was younger, he did a lot of drugs before he left and went to Tennessee. So.
Let's see. Do you happen to know if they've been drug tested?
I don't.
Okay.
I have no clue.
Okay. Well, I think that's all I have right now. I mean, Melissa, do you have anything else that you want to ask Mary? And if there's anything else that you, once again, like you feel like needs to be said or, brought up, by all means, feel free.
Yeah, I think we probably pretty much covered it. If there's anything else that you come up with later or something, just message me and
I really appreciate that.
To the best of my ability. So.
I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate your honesty and your candor and just, your willingness to tell the story the way that the story unfolded and, what you know and what you don't know. And then you're just like, I know this and I don't know that. So we can all just keep praying and hoping that, something big comes this weekend and, summer's coming home soon.
I hope so, man.
I do too.
So. That's all I pray for.
Me too. And I hope that your sisters and your daughter, like they know like that this doesn't have anything to do with them or being their fault.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they're looking at it this way. Yeah, because it's not their fault. They just, they just wanted to get stuff out there because, they think it might be something of interest, to the law enforcement and stuff, about things that happened in the past.
Right. And I'm sure it is of great interest to them. So I think that, and it could be relevant and it could not be, but the point is that you don't know unless you say something. So that whole thing is you see something, say something. So let's hope that it all adds up and we can figure out, a way to, help squash the rumors and get out the truth.
Right. Yep. That would be nice.
All right, Mary. Well, thank you so much for coming on with us. And if anything does come up after, I'll shoot you a message.
Okay. Sounds good. Hey, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Mary. Have a good night.
Everybody that's watching is saying thank you. Prayers.
Okay. All right, I stopped that share. Y'all, I've been on here for over 2 hours, 2 hours and 12 minutes. Thank you all so much for hanging out. And let's please keep Summer in our prayers. Even if you're not a praying person, send those positive vibes, that positive energy into the universe for her. We just want this little girl to be well and safe. And I was going to say back home, but I'm not sure. That's not for us to decide, but I just hope that she comes back. And I will see you all on the next one. I pray they could find her tomorrow. Well, today now it's after midnight here, but let's pray that those searchers find Summer tomorrow, today, whatever, this weekend. Okay, bless you all. Good night.